one of the most common types of occupational fraud is called asset misappropriation.
I've heard the term, but I'm not exactly sure what it means. Is it like stealing from your own company?
Pretty much, asset misappropriation happens when someone takes or uses a company's assets for personal gain. It can range from outright theft of inventory to more subtle things like falsifying records to cover their tracks.
Oh wow, that sounds serious. Can you give me an example?
Sure, imagine an employee works in a warehouse and decides to take a few expensive items like laptops and then sells them on the side. They might cover it up by marking those items as damaged or retained in the company's inventory system.
That's sneaky, but wouldn't the company notice missing items?
Not always. In larger organizations, it's easy for this theft to go unnoticed, especially if there are weak internal controls or the person committing the fraud is trusted by their managers.
Is stealing inventory the only way this kind of fraud happens?
No, there are other ways too. For example, an employee might misuse a company credit card for personal expenses, or they might create fake vendor invoices to funnel money to themselves or an accomplice.
Fake invoices? How does that work?
Let's say I set up a fake company and call it Jake Supplies. I create an invoice for services that were never actually provided and submit it for payment. If no one checked closely, the company pays the invoice and I pocket the money.
That's clever and illegal, but what makes people do things like this?
Usually, it comes down to three factors called the fraud triangle. That is pressure, opportunity, and rationalization. Pressure might come from financial struggles like debt. Opportunity arises when companies don't have proper controls in place. And rationalization is when the person convinces themselves it's okay, like thinking, I'm underpaid, so I deserve this.
So how do companies catch this kind of fraud?
Through regular audits, monitoring employee behavior and having strong internal controls. For instance, cross-checking inventory with physical counts can help detect theft. Encouraging whistleblowing also helps. Employees who see suspicious activity can report it anonymously.
That makes sense, but what if the person committing fraud is a trusted employee?
That's tricky, but it happens. Fraud often goes undetected because the perpetrator is someone that company trusts. That's why it's important not to rely solely on trust, but to have checks and balance in place.
Like what?
Segregation of duties is a big one. For example, the person who processes payments shouldn't also be the one approving them. It creates accountability. Also, regular training on fraud awareness can help employees recognize red flags.
So what happens when someone gets caught?
Well, it depends on the severity of the fraud. Usually, the person is terminated and the company might pursue legal action. In some cases, the company may even sue to recover stolen assets. But the damage isn't just financial, it can hurt the company's reputation too.
Yikes, it sounds like prevention is key.
Exactly. It's always better to prevent fraud than to deal with the fallout. Companies need to foster a culture of ethics and accountability where employees feel safe reporting suspicious activities.
Thanks for explaining, Shahira. I never realized how complex and damaging fraud could be.
No problem. It's something everyone should know about, whether they're working in a business or just trying to be more aware.